Hey ladies, I'm Alina Paramore. I am Principal and Director of Practice at Our Fundraising Search. I so wish that I could be there with you today, but at the time of this meeting, myself and my business partner, Dave Polly, are both on airplanes, and I am sure that our seatmates would not appreciate us doing this live. Fortunately, our colleague Jenna Scott is there and is a great resource as well. If you have questions after this video and as y'all are chatting. Our fundraising search, just to give a little background on us, our fundraising search, or OFS, we help nonprofits fund their mission. About 50% of our work is recruitment, and we average about 15 searches for fundraisers and executives each year. So we are interviewing a lot. And today I'm going to be focusing on two things. First, what the job market looks like for fundraisers right now, and two, finding the right organization for you. So let's talk about the job market. The job market for fundraisers is strong right now. I looked on Work for Good this morning, and there are 84 jobs open within 100 miles of Atlanta, where I am currently located. Generally speaking, though, the job market is generally pretty strong for fundraisers, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First, the primary reason is that the market is usually strong is because there's a huge turnover in fundraisers. We know that. Boards and executive directors like to blame this on the fundraisers themselves, alleging that they job hop for salaries, but that is an inaccurate attribution. Our research at OFS shows that the primary reasons why fundraisers leave their job are unrealistic fundraising goals, toxic leadership, boards, or work environments, and lack of opportunities for growth and advancement. And even though I'm recording this ahead of your conversation, I can already sense head nods as I was saying those statements. So now that that information immediately has implications for fundraisers looking for new positions. As you are looking for your new position, one of the questions you should always ask is, why is this position open? This is where LinkedIn can be really helpful. Research the people who have worked there before. Reach out. If they won't respond to you, maybe they're not getting the messages, but maybe they're not allowed. Maybe they can't. Previous employees, even current employees, are a great resource to do some research on the culture of the organization and why that position itself is available. The second reason that the market is strong for fundraisers is the chaos that's happening in Washington right now. Organizations that have relied almost exclusively on state and federal grants are suddenly discovering that they need to diversify their revenue streams. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that employment of fundraisers will grow 6% over the next 10 years, which is faster than the average for all occupations. And because of that market demand, more nonprofits are open to remote positions for fundraisers, which means new opportunities for both job seekers and hiring managers. While the market is strong, it is also changing. It has never been more important that nonprofits diversify their fundraising stream, as we have said. The slash and burn approach to federal grants mean more institutions are going to have to look for new streams of revenue. And at the same time, the changes in tax laws have led to an explosion of donor-advised funds. That means smart nonprofits are going to need to prioritize innovation in order to reach new donor pools. So the market is strong. If you are thinking about looking for a new role, how should you approach it? So let's talk about finding the right organization. Before you do any work on positioning yourself, first be clear with yourself about why you are considering a job change and what you want in that new job. And I don't mean salary or even title. We all know that it's easier to raise money for an organization that speaks to you personally. But beyond that, what else is important to you? Because of the unique and valuable nature of F3, let's start with the biggest question we face right now from non-white candidates. With some corporations, nonprofits, and the federal government scaling back their DEI initiatives, how is this shift impacting hiring for fundraising roles? And what should candidates be aware of when evaluating an organization's commitment to equity and inclusion? So let's be blunt. All companies, both for-profit and nonprofit in the United States have fallen into one of three camps when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. First, it's those that embrace it and understand that diversity make better decisions, that a diverse team make better decisions and are better at achieving their goals. The second is those that complied with laws but didn't necessarily embrace DEI. And three, those that, flat out ignored the laws. The goal, obviously, is always to work for that first group. The group that embrace DEI and understand that diverse teams make better decisions and are better at achieving their goals overall. That's the goal, right? So the good news is that nothing changed or generally will change about those organizations. So the good news is that nothing about the move away from DEI laws is going to drive those companies out of that top tier. If that was already a priority internally, they were doing it no matter what the laws were or were not. The second group, that's the group that's going to shrink. Those that complied with the laws but didn't necessarily embrace DEI in the first place, those companies, that's bad news. However, the reality is that those organizations weren't great places to work with in the first place, right? And so the goal is to identify the difference in those organizations. So this is why you interview. Most candidates approach interviews in the wrong way. Let me explain what I mean by that. Most candidates treat interviews like a test at school. They're going to ask me questions and I need to know or at least guess at the right answers in order for them to continue considering me as a viable candidate. Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself and don't treat it like a test. We say that you should treat it like a blind date. So on a blind date, they're trying to learn more about you and you are trying to learn more about them as well. There are warning signs in an interview. The hiring manager or organization are not going to be a place where you are valued. So things to look for: negative comments or attitudes towards current or past employees, particularly when you ask why, if this was an existing role, why did the previous person leave? Look to how they answer that question. If they ask inappropriate questions that make you uncomfortable, their lack of clarity about company goals, especially fundraising goals that would impact the role you're interviewing for. Disrespectful behavior towards you as a candidate in the interview, or how they talk about their behavior in the office. If the interviewer interrupts you frequently, or if they talk more than they are listening to you, and not being able or willing to articulate the team dynamic or the company culture or inclusivity when you ask specifically about it. If you observe all those behaviors, you need to steer clear of that organization. Beyond a culture of inclusion, what else is it that you desire? Let's use hybrid work or remote work as an example. So while recent studies show that 60% of nonprofit professionals prefer hybrid or remote work, those organizations are also going to be more difficult to manage. Engagement, inclusion, accountability, these are harder to practice remotely. Now let's also be honest with ourselves. There are far more badly run organizations than well-run ones. Yes, it's not enough for an organization to have a hybrid policy. If that is something that's important to you, you need to ask questions about how it works, how many employees use it, how is it organized, and how is it effectiveness managed. Beyond that, you also need to have clear insights into what your goals would be in an organization and whether you have the transportable skills and abilities to achieve those goals. So in conclusion, there's so much more I could and want to tell you, but I don't want to take up all of your valuable time. So I appreciate you for giving us this opportunity to chat with you briefly. Thank you for your dedication and all the hard work that you put into your organizations. You are making a difference both at your organization and you're making our communities a better world. So thank you and have a great rest of your time together.